I just wanted to mention a couple other things that you need to work on. I figured at least one of them was better talked about out here on the driving range. It's about how we release the club and making sure we get that club head release heavy. I have a video on YouTube, I think it says Ben Hogan hat, heavy release, something like that. I'll get the link to you so you can watch that one if you haven't seen that one yet. But along with that, what I want you to do is understand where your linkage point is. So, you know, when you're swinging, we watched in your video, and I did touch on this a bit, but I want to cover it in a little more detail. You go up to the top of your swing, and as you come down, your hands are near your right pocket as you begin to release that club or deliver that club. So your hands stay by that right pocket as you come in the ball. And you can see the more your hands are back as you release it, the more that club face is going to be closing down as it reaches the ball. Okay? We need to make sure your hands get more in front of you. So when your weight shifts to your front foot, you post up and you're unhinging, your hands are more in front of the ball. So your linkage is more in front of you instead of on your side. So we want to make sure that as you're making your downswing that you're certainly getting your hands back more in front of your body. A lot of golfers have talked about this. If you look at a guy like Scott McCarron, he takes his shirt, he pulls it up, he holds his arms. That keeps his arms more in front of his body. If you were to look at a David Tom swing, it certainly looks like he keeps his arms more out in front of him throughout the whole swing. Well, the towel under both arm drill, if you've ever seen that before, again, that's a center linkage type of training drill. So a lot of people have used this in the past. Even Tiger Woods says his hips have got to wait for his hands to get back down in front of him before he turns to the ball. So that's something I want you to work on. Now you can do this at home as a drill, and then you can go to the driving range and you can work on it later. But the sense is, if you just go ahead and set your wrist so your hands are right in front of your body, and then turn your right hip to get started in your golf swing, and then from here you go up to the top of the backswing. What I want you to do is get this feeling of almost pumping your arms down, getting that sense that you're letting your arms get back down in front of you, so you pump it a few times, and then you go ahead and go through to your finish, you know, on one of those downward pumps. So again, I get set up, preset my wrist, I'm going to turn that right hip and go to the top. Now let my arms drop down in front. 1, that's 2, 3, and I go. So when you have a good feeling of that, you can actually go out to the range and play some shots that way. Again, you're a front anchor golfer, so get in your front anchor position. Set your wrist, get that a little bit of that hip turn and go to the top. 1, 2, 3. So that ball went out to the right, what I call the ball line, right down my ball line. You know, I'll eliminate all pulls if I get linked up properly like that. A lot of your pulls are coming from, you know, when you release it behind your linkage point, you release it by your right pocket, you get pulls, you get hooks, you know, when you do that. Okay, so let's do that one more time now. Get that sense. Okay, we get set up, the front anchor, get the feeling of those hips turning, preset your wrist, turn that right hip back a little, go to the top. I'm keeping my hips and my back to the target now. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so if you do that enough, you're going to get the sense of your arms getting more in front of your body. You know, as you're coming down, it'll feel like you turn early in the backswing. Your arms get in front of you. You start getting up, and you turn late in the follow through. So for golfers with your biomechanics, I often tell them their turns are like bookends. They turn early in the backswing. They got all this folding up. The arms are coming down. They're posting. They're releasing. And then from the point of extension, they do what I call cornering out in that exit. And as they corner out, there's your forward turn, and that feels more like their bookends, okay? So obviously you're going to be doing some turning as your arms are linking up. However, the feeling to you is that you're getting your arms in front of you before you launch your swing and before you really turn through to your finish, okay? So the next thing I want to talk about is releasing this club head a lot heavier. So the feeling that you want to have is when you get to the top of the backswing that you have a nice heavy club head at the top. When you come down through the ball, I want you to release that club head heavy. It'll feel like that club's hanging down. If all I did is hinge my wrists up and let this sucker drop, it would drop down very heavy every time. If I hinge it up to the right, I drop it down, it's going to drop heavy. I actually added a little bit in that time and it flung past that time. Take it up to the right, drop it down. Again, you can see how heavy it is. So this is more of a feel drill, an experience drill than it is a technical drill. But what I want you to do is get that sense of what it's like to get that heavy club head feeling at the top, heavy club head feeling at the bottom. to make this work, you're going to have to be getting up on your left leg as you feel the heavy release at the bottom. So here's that feel. Heavy, heavy. So I had a nice heavy release. You can see how my arms, hands, and club were hanging at the bottom. The club caught that ball, the ground first before the ball, and that's because I was slow to get up. As an undergolfer, I have a tendency to do that. But even me, if I train this regularly, I'm going to get up and I'm going to synchronize this nicely. Right? Heavy, heavy. Okay, that one was nice. Ball first on the ground, nice heavy release. That length swing, by the way, just played the ball 130 yards. This is an 8-iron. You can see that wasn't a full swing, but there was lots of energy in that release. By the way, this is the type of release that Fred Couples works. And again, for side-on golfers, I believe it's a wonderful action. You know, it really synchronizes well with their biomechanics. I'd like you to see if you can get the feel of this. Let's go ahead and do it one more time. Heavy, heavy. Okay, I actually chased that one through a little bit. You can see the club flip past. Instead of releasing it heavy and getting up, I actually added in that time. Again, that's an under habit. I'm going to go ahead and do one more here, see if we can get a good one for you to finish on. Heavy, heavy. Okay, that one was pretty good enough to finish on. So, along with the biomechanical patterns you were looking at, I want you to get the sense of how to get linked up in your golf swing, your arms more in front, and I also want you to get the feeling of what a heavy, heavy release is. I hope this helps you out. If you have any questions, feel free to email me, and we'll get those questions answered for you.